Welcome to Local Experience. In today's documentary, we explore a surprising force that has shaped human civilization in countless ways. Not abundance, but scarcity. While modern society often views scarcity as something negative, history tells a more complex story. From the foods we eat to the homes we build, from the rituals we practice to the values we pass on, scarcity has been a quiet architect of culture. What happens when there isn't enough? People adapt, and in doing so, they create. Scarcity as the mother of invention. The old saying goes, necessity is the mother of invention. But in many cultures, scarcity is the mother of tradition. Take food preservation. In regions where harvests are seasonal and unpredictable, entire culinary traditions have grown out of the need to store food. In Scandinavia, for example, long winters with limited access to fresh produce led to techniques like curing, pickling, smoking, and fermenting. What began as survival strategies evolved into a rich culinary heritage. Think gravlax, pickled herring, or fermented fish. In Korea, kimchi isn't just a side dish, it's a product of necessity. Before refrigeration, fermented vegetables were a lifeline during long, harsh winters. Today, they're a national symbol. Scarcity forces people to be resourceful. It gives rise to not only new inventions, but new ways of thinking, of valuing, of tasting life. Rituals born from less. Scarcity doesn't just affect what we do, it affects how we do it and with what meaning. Religious fasting is one example. From Ramadan in Islam to Lent in Christianity, abstaining from food or pleasure is not just about sacrifice. It is a structured reminder of gratitude. In many cultures, these rituals originated in agrarian societies where food scarcity was part of life. Over time, the ritual became a way to cope spiritually with physical lack, to find purpose in restraint. In Bhutan, happiness isn't tied to wealth. The country famously measures gross national happiness instead of GDP. It's a society that has long lived with limited resources, but rather than seeing that as deprivation, Bhutanese culture treats minimalism as a path to contentment. Scarcity, when framed through ritual and meaning, becomes not just bearable, but even beautiful, designing for limits. Architecture and design offer a clear lens through which to see scarcity shaping culture. In Tokyo, one of the most densely populated cities in the world, architects create astonishingly innovative homes in spaces often smaller than a single-car garage. These micro-houses reflect not only the high cost of land, but a cultural acceptance, even celebration of compact living. Sliding doors, multi-purpose furniture, vertical gardens, all born from limited space. In sub-Saharan Africa, builders often rely on local materials: mud, wood, straw. The results are structures that are sustainable, repairable, and adapted to climate. These aren't signs of lack, they're signs of balance. In desert cultures like the Berbers of North Africa or the Bedouins of the Middle East, tents and low-lying stone homes help mitigate the heat, conserve resources, and allow for nomadic movement. Here, architectural elegance is achieved through economy. Scarcity encourages smarter, simpler, and often more sustainable design. Shared meals, shared struggles. In many societies, the act of sharing food isn't just polite, it's essential. In cultures where food was scarce, hospitality became a norm of mutual survival. The idea that you must feed a guest even if you don't have enough for yourself is prevalent in places like rural India, Morocco, and Turkey. These customs are not born from abundance, but from an understanding that today you share and tomorrow someone will share with you. The Ethiopian tradition of eating from a shared plate reflects this ethos. Injera, a sourdough flatbread, is placed in the center and everyone eats with their hands from the same surface. The meal is communal, intimate, and democratic. Even street food cultures, like those in Vietnam, Thailand, or Mexico, arose in part due to limited resources. Instead of formal restaurants, food was taken to the streets, served quickly, cheaply, and to all, fashioning identity from constraint. In regions where resources are limited, clothing traditions often adapt accordingly, and in the process, become iconic. Take the Andes Mountains. The Quechua and Aymara peoples use alpaca wool not only because it's available, but because it's ideal for high-altitude cold. Their vibrant patterns and colors serve social functions, denoting region, status, or marital availability. In parts of West Africa, indigo dyeing techniques developed from the limited resources of local plants and clay. Over time, these techniques became symbols of cultural pride and identity, not poverty. Even in urban poverty, fashion adapts. In favelas of Brazil or townships in South Africa, youth cultures invent their own styles using recycled materials, customizing shoes, or repurposing fabrics. Scarcity becomes a canvas for self-expression. Scarcity in storytelling and art. When resources are limited, people often turn inward, toward imagination. Storytelling traditions often flourish in resource-poor areas. Without books, screens, or instruments, the voice becomes the main medium. In West Africa, griots are oral historians preserving centuries of knowledge through song and story. In indigenous Australia, Dreamtime stories aren't just myths. They are maps, laws, ethics, and history, all passed down through spoken word and symbolic art. Art in such societies is also often ephemeral. Sand paintings, leaf art, or temporary altars reflect a mindset attuned to impermanence. Scarcity doesn't stop creativity, it channels it in profound and powerful directions. When scarcity shapes social values. Scarcity doesn't just change habits, it reshapes values. In places where water is precious, such as Jordan or Namibia, entire cultural attitudes develop around conservation. Long showers are not just impractical, they're frowned upon. Children are taught to value every drop. In areas with economic scarcity, time becomes a currency. In Mexico, Philippines, or parts of the Mediterranean, people often value relationships over rigid schedules. Time is fluid and the emphasis is on being present rather than being punctual. Scarcity, in this sense, reorders what matters. Efficiency becomes less important than empathy. Output matters less than connection. Learning from scarcity in a world of excess. Ironically, some of the most meaningful lessons from scarcity emerge precisely when we have too much. Modern society is grappling with abundance, overproduction, overconsumption, overstimulation. Yet, minimalist movements, slow living, and eco-conscious lifestyles are gaining popularity. People are beginning to ask, what if less is actually more? Designers are tuning to vernacular architecture for clues on sustainability. Chefs are exploring ancient preservation techniques. Educators are reviving oral storytelling. In a world flooded with stuff, cultures shaped by scarcity offer an alternative: depth over volume, meaning over material. Final thoughts. Scarcity as culture's unseen hand. We often think of culture as the product of wealth, creativity, or freedom. But look closer, and you'll see that many of the world's most meaningful traditions were born not from abundance, but from lack. Scarcity teaches us to share, to invent, to care, and to adapt. It strips life down to its essentials, and in doing so, reveals what truly matters. At Local Experience, we believe that culture isn't just what survives scarcity. Sometimes it is born from it. If you found this perspective meaningful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us next time as we uncover more stories that reveal the depth of human experience.